In my past life, my younger sister got her wish and married into a prestigious family. The result? Her wealthy husband was never home. She couldn't stand the loneliness and had an affair. She was caught, eventually contracted HIV, and was then thrown out of the house. As for me, I married a movie star, a 3-time award winner. After our marriage, he loved me to the bone. We became the model couple, famous throughout the entire entertainment industry. My sister, driven mad with jealousy, killed us. And so, we were both reborn on the day we were to be married off. This time, she acted first, telling our father that she would choose to marry the movie star. I laughed. Her previous husband was never home, but he gave her tens of millions in spending money every month. It was a fairy tale life. My sister didn't like that. My father called me and my sister in to let us choose our own partners for this marriage alliance. My sister glanced at Dylan Crawford's photo with contempt, then picked up the photo of my previous life's husband, Blake Lively, and said sweetly to our father, "Daddy, I choose to marry him." Then my sister smugly pushed Dylan Crawford's photo into my hands, her voice coy. "Sister, I'm giving you the position of the richest man in Westwood City. You only deserve the best things like this. You don't have to thank me. This is what a younger sister should do." My mother frowned and quickly intervened. "Sienna, no. Dylan Crawford is the one your father has chosen for you. He's so young and already on the Forbes list on his own. How can you give him to your sister? Only you are a match for him. Our family and the Crawford family were close. My grandmother had arranged the engagement in the previous generation. My mother often had my sister and Dylan meet to cultivate their feelings." My sister whispered something in my mother's ear. My mother asked in surprise, "Are you sure, Sienna?" She fluttered her long eyelashes and acted cute with my mother. "Mommy, you love me the most. Please agree." Blake Lively is a 3-time award-winning actor too. He's not bad. I also want to try my hand in the entertainment industry for a bit. My mother couldn't resist her daughter's pleas. She glanced at my father and then agreed. My sister looked at me smugly, her eyes full of provocation. She leaned in close and whispered, "A husband who can't perform. You can enjoy him all you want." Hearing my sister say these words, and her completely different choice from the previous life, I knew she had been reborn as well. My mother looked at me, who had been silent all this time, and said coldly, "Since it's like this, Shang, you can just marry Dylan Crawford. But, since you've benefited from this, as the older sister, you must compensate your younger sister." My mother thought for a moment, and without caring whether I agreed or not, she made a firm decision on the method of compensation. She told me, "Then you can transfer the 5% of the company's shares that you hold to your sister." My father also ruffled my sister's hair and said gently, "Then Dad will give you the skyscraper in the city center. I will definitely not let my precious daughter suffer any disadvantage when she marries into the Lively family." All right then. The engagements with the Crawford and Lively families are decided. I lowered my head and sneered. I only have 5% of the shares in my hand, and this was a gift from my maternal grandfather. Meanwhile, my parents and younger sister had already given her 10% of the shares the moment she came of age, but had never given me anything. Now they were taking away the only thing I had left to give to her. Although I knew my parents had favored my sister since we were young, this blatant favoritism still made my heart turn cold. They didn't care about my feelings at all, only thinking that, as the older sister, I had to give in to my younger sister. But with my parents' favoritism, I wasn't too bothered anymore. Dylan Crawford was extremely generous. His engagement gift included 7% of the Crawford Group's shares, worth far more than this amount. Moreover, besides giving his wife an unlimited black card, he also gave her tens of millions in spending money every month. In this life, my sister snatched Blake Lively and threw Dylan Crawford to me. I laughed to myself. A husband who's never home but has a fairy tale amount of money to spend, my sister doesn't like that. She wants to swap this happy life of mine. She can wish for it but never get it. After Dylan Crawford and I met, we quickly went to register our marriage. The night of our registration, I had already packed my bags and moved into his house. He lived in the penthouse of a building in downtown Westwood. I wore a revealing nightgown, leaned against the window, and smiled as I watched Dylan's calloused hands skillfully tie his tie. Tonight, he was flying abroad to negotiate a project on our wedding night. And he didn't even know when he would be back. We both had a tacit understanding not to mention organizing a wedding ceremony. Dylan had a cold and aloof aura. His deep eyes looked at me, his voice magnetic and clear. Chang, I'm sorry I can't be with you on our wedding night. He took out a black card, gently placed it on the bar, and said nonchalantly, "You can swipe this card as you please. It's linked to my main card. I'll be back as soon as I can to be with you, okay?" I looked at Dylan's handsome, cold face, then glanced at his broad shoulders, narrow waist, and long legs. Although that wasn't okay, just looking at him was quite nice. I licked my lips and replied softly, "Okay, honey, I'll be waiting for you at home. I wish you success in everything." Dylan's body clearly stiffened for a moment, but he quickly composed himself, nodded at me, and then picked up his luggage and left. Watching his retreating figure, a radiant smile spread across my face. Half a month later was the wedding of my younger sister, Sienna Grant, and Blake Lively. The wedding was held on a small island. Besides the major figures in the business world that my parents had invited, nearly half of the stars in the entertainment industry were also invited by Blake Lively. After the ceremony, I felt it was too noisy, so I found a quiet corner to rest and didn't attend the reception. Sienna, her face beaming, deliberately followed me. She intimately linked her arm with mine and acted cute. "Sister, are you happy in your marriage?" "Oh, I forgot. Dylan Crawford, he can't perform in that department. I heard that on your wedding night, he left you to go abroad. As for me, Blake pampers me, loves me, and cherishes me like a treasure. He even said I was his first love, that he fell in love at first sight. It's just that he's naturally very strong, and I can't handle him all night." Today is our wedding day, and he still couldn't control himself. The concealer almost couldn't cover up the marks. The corner of my mouth twitched. I glanced towards the corner of the room. Blake was flirting with a young male actor, even patting his behind a few times. I replied with a half smile. "Oh, really?" Sienna was as foolish and clueless as she was 10 years ago. I was really looking forward to her expression when she discovered the truth. I knew from my past life that Sienna was a person who valued physical pleasure and was infatuated with love. Just half a year after marrying Dylan, she couldn't stand the loneliness and slept with a male model. She was even accidentally caught by someone, intimately entering a hotel with the male model. Once I accidentally overheard someone teasing Dylan. "Dylan, are you and your wife playing your own games? You're being cheated on. And you're still so calm." Dylan replied coldly, "It's fine." After that, Sienna was coaxed into a state of euphoria by the male model. She went home and told her parents she wanted a divorce from Dylan. She went crazy. "Dylan never even touched me. I want a divorce. I can't live with him. He's not a man." My parents, who had always doted on her for the first time, strictly disciplined her and refused Sienna's unreasonable request. After that incident, Sienna and Dylan's relationship completely broke down. Her actions became even more reckless. She used his money to support young men, and was even caught by Dylan in the act at home. Meanwhile, Blake and I were the model couple, frequently at the top of the trending topics online. He would post all my preferences on social media, was photographed going out in the middle of the night to buy me sanitary pads, and would wake up at 5 in the morning to line up at a small stall in the next city to buy the steamed buns I liked. I was afraid of pain and didn't want to have children. He publicly announced that he would get a vasectomy so as not to harm my body. Whenever someone mentioned love or famous couples, they would mention us. On New Year's Day, when my parents called Blake and me home for dinner, Sienna was sitting alone in a corner, her eyes looking at me full of jealousy and resentment. At that time, Sienna had made the front page for being photographed having an affair and contracting HIV, and Dylan finally agreed to a divorce. She was kicked out of the house and had to issue a public statement to the media. My parents, not wanting to offend the Crawford family, wanted me to clean up Sienna's mess. It was only then that I knew the reason my mother rarely called me home for dinner was because of this. "Shang, you and Sienna have similar figures. You go and tell Dylan that the one who was photographed having an affair was you. The one who contracted HIV was also you. You are the older sister. You should sacrifice for your younger sister." You and Blake are the model couple in the entertainment industry right now. He won't dare or be able to blame you for such a trivial matter." I was amused by their stupidity. But I was brutally murdered by a jealous and crazed Sienna. "Jang! Why can you be happier than me? Go to hell!" But after being reborn once more, she naively thought that by choosing Blake, she could have a happy marriage and a perfect life, not knowing that Blake and his family were the most vicious people of all. I went to Dylan's unbeatable legal team and then led them to the Grant family home. After a round of threats and coaxing, my father agreed to compensate me with $10 billion, and I transferred the 5% of the shares to Sienna. After that, I quickly established a charitable foundation. Moreover, in this life, I wanted to complete the things I couldn't in my past life. Those beautiful and vibrant lives should not be buried in the hands of those vermin. The amount of money was too large and required Dylan's signature. He didn't ask any questions, just called me. "Jang, the project is in its final stages. I'll be home soon." I was a little puzzled as to why he was reporting his whereabouts to me, but quickly pushed it to the back of my mind and didn't think too deeply about it. After establishing the foundation, the first thing I did was to have a third party help me contact Holly Lively. She was the adopted daughter of the Lively family and the lover of Blake's older brother. Sienna, relying on Blake's connections in the entertainment industry and the investment of the Grant family, quickly filmed a 3S-level fantasy drama and became the female lead, making a successful debut. When I was free, I watched a few episodes. Sienna's acting was quite good. I never expected her to actually find her path so randomly. Under her intentional or unintentional guidance, fan speculation about her background grew, and she quickly shot to the top of the trending topics. And a Weibo post from the Grant Corporation also pushed the excitement of the onlookers to its peak. Grant Corporation. At Sienna Grant, the treasure of our group's chairman. Grant Corporation. The chairman's wife says thank you everyone for loving her treasure. Retweet and comment on this post to praise at Sienna Grant. We will draw 520 lucky winners to receive $5,000 each, 66 to receive the group's latest product gift package, and 88 to receive the latest phone. Hashtag giveaway assistant. The comment section went crazy. Oh my god. Sienna has both looks and acting skills. And she's also the little princess of a wealthy family. Did God close all her other doors? Oh my god, my baby Sienna is so beautiful and cute. She's the classic beautiful, rich, and fair-skinned type. Baby Sienna is truly too outstanding. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also kind and has such a strong family background. She's a true winner in life. Hoping to get some of Sienna's good luck. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also super talented. I feel like she was very well educated. Is Sienna an only child? Her parents really dote on her. And then, the popular celebrity couple reality show from Starburst TV suddenly posted a Weibo message at this time, causing the entire social media to explode. Starburst TV, the final guest couple of a celebrity couple daily life at Sienna Grant and at Blake Lively. However, I never expected that Sienna would dare to bring the entire program crew to my house to film without even telling me. Early in the morning, when I received her call, I was still a little groggy. I had been up until midnight last night. Sienna's gentle voice made me a little nauseous. "Sister, my husband and I are coming to visit you in a bit. You know I'm on that reality show, right? I'm bringing all the viewers along to see if your brother-in-law is bullying you. Is that okay?" Her intention was too easy to guess. She clearly wanted to come and mock me for living alone, and at the same time, show off how happy her own married life was. However, the man lying next to me stirred from the noise and wrapped his arms around me from behind. He gently massaged my sore waist, his voice deep and lethally sexy. "Who is it? Jang, why are you up so early? Aren't you tired?" Sienna, on the other end of the line, paused for a moment, then said suggestively, "Sister, it seems you couldn't control yourself either, huh?" She thought I had cheated and was keeping a young man in my house. The man's cool fingers brushed past my lips and slowly moved downwards. My mind started to get hazy, and I completely forgot I was on the phone. He let out a soft laugh, used his other hand to take the phone from me, and hung up. He kissed me meticulously, his breath hot. Like a small boat on a rolling wave, I unconsciously tangled my hands in his hair. My voice was hoarse. Dylan Crawford. He let out a soft groan. The air heated up quickly, the sound of breathing and heartbeats mingling together. I was a bit dazed. In my mind, other images involuntarily appeared. Last night, I was soaking in the bathtub and had a few glasses of red wine to help me sleep. When I stood up, I felt dizzy and fell to the floor. The next second, the bathroom door was opened by someone and I was lifted up. It was Dylan Crawford. Looking up at his handsome and cold face, I still thought I was dreaming. Faced with such beauty, my mind went blank. I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed him. He whispered something. I didn't hear it clearly, and continued to act recklessly. Dylan just held me and stood under the shower, a storm brewing in his eyes. His movements were not rough. I couldn't think. My mind was blank. A random thought popped into my head. Dylan Crawford. This is pretty good too. I had just finished getting dressed when Sienna arrived with the entire program crew. Today, she had also intentionally started a live stream. The number of online viewers was nearly 30 million, and the comments on the screen were dense. Living in the penthouse of a downtown commercial building. My God, I've seen it all now. Which tycoon is this? Wow, this place! Could it be that our dear Sienna has married the legendary richest man in Westwood? It's not some ugly old man, is it? Your baby Sienna is not ugly at all. She's very beautiful. Why didn't the Grant Corporation's earlier post mention her sister? The program crew didn't greet me, but started setting up their equipment everywhere. I frowned. Sienna slowly walked over and nodded at me. Sister, is my brother-in-law home? Can I take the fans on a tour of your house? She smiled sweetly at the camera, and without waiting for my consent, picked up a GoPro and started walking from the top floor down, looking into every room. It was clear she wanted to lead tens of thousands of viewers to catch me in the act of cheating. I leaned against the marble countertop, drinking a glass of warm water to soothe my throat, and coolly watched Sienna bounce around like a clown. I smirked. She would surely be disappointed. Her adulterer, Dylan, had just gone downstairs to pick up takeout for me, but he should be back soon. Sienna couldn't find anything and came downstairs, her face sullen. Meanwhile, Blake Lively arrived late with his male assistant. I noticed the assistant's lips were slightly swollen and couldn't help but look away in disgust. This was the person who had been by Blake's side the longest. Seeing Blake, Sienna's eyes immediately lit up. She smiled charmingly and threw herself into his arms. Honey, you're here. She snuggled into his embrace like a little bird, not forgetting to show off to me. Sister, your house is so cold. It's a good thing we came to warm it up for you. But brother-in-law isn't home. Blake and I were originally planning to visit him. Don't tell me brother-in-law has really never come home since the wedding? After saying that, Sienna immediately covered her mouth. She playfully stuck out her tongue at the camera and whispered, I'm sorry, sister. I think I misspoke. Please don't blame me. Blake smiled indulgently, tapped the center of her forehead, and whispered something. Sienna shyly stood on her tiptoes and gave him a quick kiss. The crew cheered, pushing the cameras in closer. The fans in the live stream also went wild. I rolled my eyes and looked down at my watch. Why are the building's security guards taking so long? Sienna suddenly blushed, walked over, and took my arm, her expression both coquettish and concerned. But her true intentions were different. I pulled my hand back. She leaned in close again, pointed at a mark on my neck, and asked in a deliberately suspicious whisper, Sister, is this a hickey? But brother-in-law isn't home. Her voice was very low, like a private conversation between two sisters, but she was wearing a microphone. The live stream camera quickly zoomed in on me. I was not used to and did not like being exposed in front of a camera for others to scrutinize. I frowned and directly pushed the camera that was pointed at me away. But the cameraman didn't expect me to have such strength, and the camera fell from his hands to the ground. I let out a cold laugh. I'm sorry. If you have any damages, you can find my lawyer to negotiate compensation. The comment screen immediately exploded. Damn! A high society family scandal! That mark on her is so intense. It's definitely cheating. Oh my God, the world of the rich is so chaotic. Take our pure and kind baby Sienna away from there. If the ugly old man can't satisfy her, she just goes out to play with young guys. All rich people do that. Only Sienna's love is worthy of admiration. It's probably not just one guy. Look at how thirsty she looks. 18 buff dudes probably couldn't satisfy her. So disgusting. Playing around like that, she'd probably catch a disease. Rich lady, if you have needs, come find me. I'm definitely stronger than your ugly old man. Sienna gasped and then looked at me mockingly. Sister, although I sympathize that your husband married you but won't touch you, you can't just debase yourself and have an affair. The Crawford family would never want such a promiscuous daughter-in-law. I looked at Sienna coolly and said nonchalantly, You think I'm you? Spreading rumors with just your mouth and no evidence? Then I leaned in close to her ear and continued, Not everyone is like you. You can't live without a man. Wake up, Sienna. Blake isn't what you think he is. Be careful you're not schemed against until you have nothing left. Sienna was angered by my words. Her gentle facade shattered instantly. She raised her hand to hit me. Before I could even react, someone had already pulled her back and thrown her aside. Dylan Crawford was back. Sienna, are you insane? Dylan, impossible. Why are you home? When I called Zhang, the person next to her, was it you? Impossible, impossible before you clearly. Zhang has an adulterer. Dylan, you came at the right time. Zhang is cheating. You should hurry up and kick her out of the house. Blake immediately hugged Sienna. He gently comforted her. I was a little embarrassed looking at Dylan. I felt uncomfortable. He had a noble aura, and on his wrist was a watch worth tens of millions. But now, in his hands, he was carrying a bag of spicy hot pot takeout, which looked very out of place. But he only glanced at me once, then lowered his gaze and put the things in his hand on the table. Dylan looked at Sienna coolly, his eyes like daggers, his tone firm. Sienna, if there's something wrong with your head, then go get it treated. If my wife isn't with me, who would she be with? I was just downstairs for a moment to get takeout, and you're already here making things up and bullying your sister. Who gave you the nerve? His icy gaze then shifted to Blake. I have witnessed the upbringing of the Lively family today. Hurry up and take Sienna and get out of my house. And at that moment, topics like hashtag Sienna Grant two-faced, hashtag Sienna Grant slanders own sister, hashtag Jen Granta La Furfort, hashtag so sweet I'm dying, quickly shot to the top of the trending topics. Blake's face was grim, a dark and cold light flashing in his eyes. But he just held the slightly collapsing Sienna and left. The Lively family and the Crawford family were truly not on the same level. This was translated by the Diamond Jar translation team, an exclusive team for the house with the Diamond Jar. Have you subscribed yet? Who let you in? The building's manager and security guards arrived late, now sweating profusely as they tried to chase the program crew out. The crew was still arguing. Sienna Grant let us in. She's the owner's sister. They're family. Why do we need to register? Let go. I'm warning you, if you damage our equipment, a small-time security guard like you can't afford to compensate us. I massaged my forehead, my sharp gaze sweeping over the cameras that were pointed at me and Dylan, without any politeness. I knocked them to the ground one by one, and said loudly, Starburst TV, right? Trespassing into my home, filming without my permission, invading my privacy, and damaging my reputation. You will soon receive a letter from the legal department of the Crawford Group, in my husband's name. Now get out before I call the police. The noisy crowd from a moment ago immediately dispersed completely. I took a deep breath and turned to look at Dylan, who was leaning against the wall, a slight raise in his eyebrow. He was watching me with an unblinking gaze. He let out a soft laugh. Wifey? Hearing him tease me, my face flushed red. I tried to act fierce. So what? You've already eaten me clean and I can't even borrow your legal department? Of course you can. It's my honor. Dylan glanced at the mess on the floor, then scooped me up. I've already called the maids to come clean up. It's still early. I'll take you to rest for a bit. I struggled to get down. My spicy hot pot. Dylan's eyes flashed with a teasing look, and he gave my waist a light squeeze. Are you sure you're not tired? Then I immediately cried out and went limp in his arms. It was true, I was dead tired. Dylan placed me on the bed, sat beside me, and started to handle messages on his phone with a serious expression. Kai, one night and still no reply. You have a nightlife now? Kai, damn it, I just saw the news. You got married and didn't even tell your brothers? Kai, you finally got your wish. No wonder you were working nonstop to shorten your time back in the country. Kai, when do I get to meet the legendary sister-in-law? Dylan, get lost. I blinked, watching him without looking away, a question in my heart. In my past life, Dylan had always stayed abroad until the end of the year. Why did he come back so early this time? Moreover, last night and this morning, he was still with me. So what was the reason for his indifference towards Sienna? I couldn't help but ask him. Dylan, if the person who married you was Sienna. Dylan raised an eyebrow, stroked my head and cut off my question. She's too stupid. All the negative news about Sienna was instantly scrubbed from the internet. The internet has no memory. They quickly forgot. Sienna was completely whitewashed. Blake gifted her a small planet named Sienna and bought out $1 million advertising screen to confess his love. On social media, he recorded their daily life together with all of Sienna's preferences. During the time Sienna was on a film set, Blake was also photographed visiting her many times. Not long after, the netizens changed their attitude again and started to ship the couple of Sienna and Blake. Sienna called me again to show off. Zhang, I'm pregnant. What do you mean by that? Are you jealous that Blake loves me in this life? Ha, you're just sour grapes. Blake is enduring the pain for my sake. Recently, he's even been sleeping in a separate room to control his desires. Jang, Dylan doesn't have time to care for you anymore, right? Right. I wonder how he feels, having his projects constantly stolen and being pushed down. Just now, the Lively and Grant families joined forces again to win a piece of land that the Crawford group has been eyeing for a long time. I didn't listen anymore and decisively hung up. Stupid and clueless. Even if she relied on her memories of the previous life to tell the Lively family about Dylan's investment directions and targets, just knowing a little information and being one step ahead doesn't guarantee success. What's more, I had already warned Dylan to be careful. As for Blake, I gave a simple command and got a small video from a private investigator. Blake and a young male actor were passionately kissing. I sent it anonymously to Sienna. She thought he was playing a game of pure love with her, but in reality, she was just one of his many playthings. In my past life, after Blake and I got married, every time he wanted to be intimate with me, I would always smell a strange scent on him. I felt very disgusted and refused him every time. After a while, Blake stopped pretending. By his side was a constantly changing lineup of young models and internet celebrities. I moved into a solo apartment, and from then on, I no longer considered this marriage to be anything. It wasn't until I discovered that Blake Lively was bisexual, even hosting depraved parties and playing swinging games, and had a child with his ex-boyfriend abroad. I was utterly disgusted. I threw the evidence in his face and demanded a divorce, even agreeing to give him half of the assets. But Blake was extremely despicable and shameless. He had installed hidden cameras in the house. He used my nude photos to threaten me not to release his related videos and images, and continued to act in front of the media as if we were a happy couple. I could only temporarily agree, but secretly collected evidence to send him to prison. Blake went to the hospital for an abortion, but lied and said he was getting a vasectomy and things like that. All the evidence that was published showing he loved me was actually me acting as a stand-in. In the end, just as my revenge was about to succeed, I was killed by a crazed Sienna at that critical moment. I never expected that in this life. I don't know if Blake really got a taste of sweetness from Sienna or if it was because she was too clingy. But I hired a private investigator to follow him, and for a long time there was indeed no evidence of him cheating. Until Sienna got pregnant. Men. I and Holly Lively had always kept in touch via an anonymous email. Finally, we arranged to meet at a private club. In the sweltering summer heat, she wore long pants, and the exposed parts of her skin were covered in mottled red and purple bruises. I was afraid she would overthink it, so I averted my gaze. But she didn't mind and just looked at me calmly, then told me about some recent events in the Lively family. When Blake and that male assistant were in the act, Sienna had followed them and caught them red-handed. I had given her the address of Blake Lively's son abroad. She quickly went to find him and nearly strangled the boy. Now she was locked in the house by Blake, with people guarding her. Holly handed me a USB drive. She whispered, "Inside there's stuff on him. And the video. I hope you can help blur the faces of the other girls. I've heard many times about Dylan Crawford's undefeated legal team. I believe this evidence is enough to bring down the Lively family. Don't worry. Protecting their privacy is something I should do. I'll be brief. Quentin won't let me out of his sight for too long." Quentin, Blake's older brother. I looked at her, startled. I had repeatedly reminded and warned her in my emails. I never expected Holly to still end up on this path with Quentin. "Holly, you and Quentin." Holly smirked, her expression complex. "From the moment he despised me, forcibly took me, and imprisoned my freedom by any means necessary, I have been waiting for this moment for a long time. So, what happened before doesn't matter anymore. In my past life, before I knew Holly, she had been thrown onto the highway after an argument with Quentin. I was the one who took her home. After that, whenever she had nowhere to go, she would come to my apartment. I never asked for the reason, just simply stayed and drank with her. Later, I found out that although she was the adopted daughter of the Lively family, she had been forced to be Quentin's underground lover. Quentin both hated her and loved her to death. When he discovered Holly wanted to escape, he flew into a rage, took her to a partner-swapping party as punishment, wanting to scare her into staying by his side. And when Holly was about to be violated, he went crazy and took her away, beating the other man half to death. Holly, at that time, had brought a hidden camera and recorded the debauched scene, originally intending to use it to threaten Quentin into letting her go. Unexpectedly, she had also captured many major figures, including Blake. So in this life, when I saw that video again, I knew she had still gone through the events of her past life. And on a night half a month later, I received another message from Holly. She gave me an address and a time. It was where they held their parties. I just never expected Blake to be so depraved. He released Sienna and then used the same old despicable tactic of nude photos to threaten her, and then brought her to that party. There were a few powerful figures who had recently developed a taste for playing games with pregnant women. When the police burst in, Sienna was covered in blood, her body torn and miserable. She saw Blake being subdued on the ground by the police, and she madly grabbed a fork from the dining table and stabbed him repeatedly, especially in his lower abdomen. "Blake Lively, you demon! Go to hell, you liar!" But she was quickly pulled away by the police and taken away. Sometimes, heaven and hell are just a hair's breadth apart. I had long worried that a long night would bring many dreams. So after meeting Holly, I had already handed over all the evidence and a list of victims to the police. With concrete evidence and the help of Dylan's legal team, the Lively family's company was quickly sealed, and Blake and Quentin were sentenced to life in prison. A few other major figures also fell from grace. When the official announcement was made and hit the trending topics, both the public and fans were stunned, unable to believe it. These two Lively brothers are truly perverted. A brief summary: tax evasion, orgies, defrauding both men and women, all sorts of crimes. Blake plays for both teams, not only sleeping with fans but also threatening them, and even has a secret child with his ex-boyfriend. That obscure talent show from before was actually for them to choose their concubines. So disgusting. The #1 fake couple in the entertainment industry. A hypocritical sister and a scummy player. So dirty, I have to go wash my eyes after seeing this news. I don't understand how anyone could ship this couple. I'm about to throw up my dinner. The Magnolia Fund, which I had established, was also pushed to all platforms at this time. The original purpose of the fund was to help young women. At the very least, when they were at their wits' end, when there was no more hope, there would be a place that could give them courage, give them hope. In my past life, I had seen too many ordinary people and even small-time celebrities being threatened with nude photos. Because those animals had power and influence, they could only swallow their tears and not dare to speak up. There was even someone who bravely came forward to the media, but the unscrupulous media outlet did not blur her face and publish the images. They even mocked and questioned her. In the end, that person jumped off a building to prove her innocence. Things like that happen too many times. The comment section was quickly flooded by netizens. This was founded by Zhang Grant and Dylan Crawford together. Ah, I know this fund. A while ago, my sister was in a divorce dispute with a tycoon. She had no money and couldn't afford a good lawyer. It was the Magnolia Fund that helped. And they even got her an incredibly good lawyer. My sister won half of the assets from that scumbag man. Her son also came back to her. The fund's introductory video almost made me cry. Sob. There are such good girls in this world. They also provide free legal consultation services. My mom needed a huge sum for surgery. After I uploaded the relevant documents, the fund quickly contacted me, and the interest rate was really low. I'm so grateful to the fund. One line is so badass. If the media dares to publish victim photos, we will pursue them to the end. This is the undefeated legal team we're talking about. The Lively family declared bankruptcy. Their related assets were quickly auctioned off by the government to pay off debts. The billion-dollar project they were collaborating on with the Grant family was also suspended. The Grant Corporation immediately faced a cash flow shortage. In a short time, my parents had to sell off many assets and shares to try to stay afloat and avoid declaring bankruptcy. The company's scale was also reduced to its smallest. While Dylan and I were on vacation at the beach, my parents continuously called me. When they couldn't get through, they would switch numbers and terrorize me with text messages. Jang, answer the phone. How can you be so cold and heartless? The family company is in such big trouble, and you're just standing by and watching? Quickly help Dad contact Dylan. Right now, only he can save our family. Your sister has gone crazy now. She gave up Dylan for you. Is this how you repay her? How ridiculous. They always stood on the moral high ground to attack me. Their company made a wrong decision. What does that have to do with me? I even had the kindness to remind Sienna, but she refused to listen. Moreover, I was hoping they would quickly sell off the company for cheap. Now, most of the shares and assets have been acquired by me at a low price. I frowned, added the phone number to the blacklist, and then turned off the screen. Dylan let out a soft groan and pressed against me, our 10 fingers intertwining. Shang, you're not focusing. Amidst our movements, my breathing gradually became heavy, my voice fragmented. A long time later, the phone screen lit up again, but I no longer had the mind to bother with it. My parents seemed to have seen some news and switched to another number to text me. Zhang, you're spending billions on a yacht and you won't help your family? Dylan and I had been at sea for 2 or 3 days and hadn't been online at all. We had no idea that I had topped the trending topics. The content of the hot search was that Dylan had lavished tens of millions on his wife. On the occasion of his wife Jean's birthday, he had spent tens of millions to buy a new yacht as a birthday gift. The person who reacted more strongly than the netizens was Sienna. After seeing the news, she went crazy. Why? Why is it like this in both lives? Why can't I have happiness? It's not supposed to be like this. In the last life, Dylan clearly didn't love her. In the last life, Blake also didn't love Zhang. It's not like this. It's not. Zhang. Zhang. This must all be Jean's doing. Yes, it's her. Jealousy and madness filled her heart. She blamed everything on me. Sienna spent a large sum of money to hire a marketing company, hired people to maliciously edit videos of me and Photoshop my nude photos. She even bought a fake diagnosis from a hospital proving I had contracted HIV. But now, bought a fake diagnosis from a hospital proving diagnosis from a hospital proving I had contracted HIV. But contracted HIV. But now, the media and marketing companies were all terrified of the Crawford Group's legal team. The moment they received the order from Sienna, they immediately notified the legal team. When the police burst in, Sienna was looking at the maliciously edited images of me on her computer, laughing maniacally. Jang, enjoy everything I'm sending you. The pain of my past life, I will make you taste it, bit by bit. I don't believe Dylan will still want you. In the last life, he abandoned me just like that. On what grounds are you happier than me? For the rest of your life, you can only be trampled under my feet." After speaking, she clutched her stomach, both crying and laughing. The police had her taken for a psychiatric evaluation. In the end, Sienna was committed to a mental hospital. My parents were also helpless and could only sell all their shares in the company to pay for Sienna's treatment. After I acquired it, I made major adjustments to the company's investment policies and successively won several important projects. Not long after, the company was successfully listed on the stock exchange. I changed the company's name to the Magnolia Group. Meanwhile, my parents, on one hand, had to work as factory workers and street vendors, and on the other hand, had to take care of the mentally ill Sienna, who was always threatening suicide. They had been rushed to the emergency room several times for heart attacks, but their life of mutual torment no longer had anything to do with me. I had long since stopped caring about them. Epilogue. On our 1-year wedding anniversary, Dylan and I held a wedding ceremony. A simple ceremony with just me, our friends, and his family. After the ceremony, Dylan picked up a guitar and pulled me out to the beach. Just the two of us. He sat down on the sand, his deep eyes staring at me, and began to play and sing. It was a song by Edmund Lowe. It was a very subtle confession, but I understood. Dylan had even changed the lyrics of the song. There was a girl, when we were little, every time I went to her house. She was always sitting and counting ants. She was never happy. I wanted to talk to her, but she didn't seem to like me. Just one small smile, it was destined. Right from the moment we met, my eyes would always unconsciously look for her. I've loved her secretly for 10 years. I thought that for the rest of my life, it would only be like that, until she agreed to marry me. Until she seemed to like me a little. Tears streamed down my face. I leaned down and kissed his lips. It's not a little like, "Dylan Crawford, I love you. And thank you for waiting for me for so long." I suddenly remembered the phrase I had heard him say to his friends in my past life. The phrase, "It's fine." It turned out that if it wasn't me, everything was fine to him. You and I, we are both sparrows on the mountain. We will eventually cross the valley, pass through the clouds, and enter the muddy river. Together, we will strive. The story ends here. This story was translated by the Diamond Jar translation team, the exclusive translation team of The House with a Diamond Jar. Remember to click the Shopee link in the description or comments to support The House with a Diamond Jar. Thank you for listening and following. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified about the latest stories from The House with a Diamond Jar. Thank you for following. Thank you for following.